If you're gonna be a black woman openly dating white men, you have to have the slickest mouth ever. You gotta know how to talk the best shit ever. Rose game has to be immaculate because you're gonna get the worst either insults or people talking about your man or always, why you don't be with a black man like me? You know? And you're gonna have to read somebody for filth all the time. So you gotta stay on it. You gotta know how to talk shit. Especially if you're a black woman who openly dates white men. Hard life to live, babes. But somebody gotta do it.
A Lee County family is speaking out, recalling the terrifying moments when they say a man armed with an AR-style rifle opened fire on their family reunion. And thank you for joining us at 5 o'clock. I'm Greg Lloyd.
And I'm Carla Heat-Sands.
And I'm a history student. Welcome back. Now, it's time to address white supremacist Brad. It's time to address the creator of Kiesha. Of course, this demonic, degenerate, racist Brad, he is his hostility is at an uptick right now. I don't want people to misinterpret the title. There's ebbs and flows when it comes to the demonic, devilish creator of Kiesha, the emperor of evil, that is racist, white supremacist Brad. And like I asked in the chat room, where are the anti-Brad movements from Kiesha? Where is that small percentage of Kiesha videos on YouTube vehemently condemning the swirl movement, the divestment movement? Because those movements suggest really that any old Brad will do. And have been saying the most ridiculous things like, oh, Brad loves you better. They're more this, they're more that. They have really, there is no narrative that permeates through the Kiesha populace that admits or recognizes black male superiority over Brad. Not one. All narratives that comes from the Kiesha populace is, proclaiming Brad's superiority and that Brad is a better choice overall. And we all are well aware of the overall, respect that Brad, any old random Brad gets. Where are the anti-Brad movements?
Now, that shooting happened Sunday evening on Autumn Leaf Drive in Leesburg. The Lee County Sheriff's Office says Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer shot at partygoers after a verbal altercation occurred. No one in the family was reportedly injured, and Kinzer was shot after a family member returned fire.
He was charged with...
From what I understand, there was no altercation. The black man who returned fire said that this man drove by hurling the N-word at a crowd of people. It was not some personal dust-up.
With aggravated assault. WAOB News 10's Mariah Norman sits down with a witness who says their family was racially targeted.
This family says they were celebrating a birthday and spending time together before a man they identify as a neighbor pulled up and opened fire with an AR-style rifle. Witnesses say the family was gathered outside for a reunion Sunday night when a car drove by. A white man who witnesses say was Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer was inside the car yelling racial slurs at the group.
When he's talking junk and he started yelling the N-word, he kept going.
Let me tell you something. These lunatics, these lunatic Brads, they, for whatever reason, they hate to see crowds of black people. it comes off as threatening when they see a crowd of really black men. If it's a crowd of Kieshas, let's keep it a buck, they're not worried. They don't feel threatened at all. It's only when there's a number of black men, and at the most, this guy, hey, was it a noise disturbance? Call the police. It just blows my mind that the majority of their population overlooks the possibility of running into this type of Brad. I don't care, I'll take my chances. I'll meet up with Brad I just met online anywhere. That the level of trust is mind-blowing. And remember, they tend to get with white supremacist Brad.
So we let him go, and he stopped.
Sorry about that. This is the guy who returned fire.
Inside the car, yelling racial slurs at the group.
And he's talking junk, and he started yelling the N-word. He kept going, so we let him go. And we were just discussing what just happened, why he tripping.
But Green says Kinzer came back, this time wearing armor and carrying a rifle.
I'm assuming this guy, his issue was with the noise. So at the most, call the cops. Call the cops for a noise violation. There's a good chance that you're going to get results from that. You know, you got the cops who love to break up black gatherings. Say, hey, we're getting reports that you're too loud over here. You're going to have to disperse. I mean, where was the trust in law enforcement? No, this was one of those Brads.
And then that's when everybody started running. He got a gun. All the kids, they were making sure the kids get in the house. And people started taking positions because they seen he had.
Simply put, where is the demographic saying that, hey, we're against all of you pro-Brad worshiping Kieshas because we don't want to project this idea that they're superior to you. Why? Where is that movement that reacts to this demographic of Brads who carrying out, and this is on a daily basis, hate and disdain for black men? Remember, this is a pattern. We just had Chud, right? You saw what Chud did, and that, I'm telling you, it is emboldening Brad. Crazy. It is crazy how closely allied they are with Brad. This same deranged, hateful Brad.
Had a gun, and I was in the middle of the street. That's when he raised it and fired. Boom. And I grabbed my gun and started returning
No
fire.
doubt. You see that crowd? I have no doubt. Now, I haven't heard much of the details, but look at the crowd.
Returning fire and moving with him. They seen he had a gun, and I was in the middle of the street. That's when he raised it and fired. Boom.
Yeah, you see that crowd? I can almost guarantee you, it's the noise, it's the noise. Again, at the most, call the police.
And I grabbed my gun and started returning fire and moving with him.
Green says he's a Marine veteran. He says he was willing to defend his family, including children and older adults who were present.
It was...
You know, there's only an anti-white supremacist Brad movement from black men. And that is those black men who always in the comment section talking about or pointing out that, hey, you're just allying with our number one enemies. Number one enemies. So what does that make you if you're allied with our number one enemies? Black men's number one enemy is, aside from other black men, but of course they are also a creation, is white supremacist Brad. That's the original number one enemy, and it still is. Where is the movement? Where's the hashtag? Where's the Brad free hashtag? Where is the black men only hashtag? Why don't things like this get under the skin of Kiesha to the point where they have an open anti-Brad movement. Like, hey, the race hostility is at an all-time high. This is too much. It's one incident after another. I cannot possibly entertain the idea of openly worshiping Brad. No, you don't hear a peep from them. Not a peep. That's surprising to me. When you will have a hashtag anti-black male rally, hashtag every other week.
So hurtful, I cried all night. I'm laying outside on the ground through a shootout under a car with my other auntie, my other sister, who is 77, and I'm 62.
The investigation is ongoing. Officials say more charges are expected to come. This family says they are just grateful to be alive. Reporting in Leake County, Mariah Norman, WALB, York.
Now, what if you link up with this exact same type of Brad? We all know that these types of Brads do go after Kiesha. We know that for a fact. It's kind of shocking that you don't have a significant demographic of them who are terrified to get with Brad. Straight up and down, flat out terrified, like, no, Brad is not on the list. The things that have been going on recently and as far back as the records show have been too horrific. There are too many psychopathic, racist, bloodthirsty, demonic Brads out there. I do not date Brads. Where is that movement? Huh? I demand. That's only logical. It's only logical that there would be movements and groups, even a list or a line of videos. You don't even see the discussion being had like, hey, let's talk about something, girl. Am I the only one terrified to mess around with Brad because of the possibility of running into a Brad like this? Hey, yeah, you know what? I thought I was the only one who thought like that. You know who the only ones who think like that? Us, black men. That's why you see them everywhere warning them. Everywhere, warning them. Like, y'all better be careful. Y'all out here just, y'all remember Chud, when Chud the Builder was in that mall and he ran across Kiesha and Bonquisha? Do y'all remember the first thing he said? He said, y'all don't even know who I am, do you? Let me ask y'all something. Do you think they would have been as welcoming to him if that was a black man live streaming and just came out talking to them like that? You think they would have welcomed them and started posing in front of the live stream? Do you think they would have even responded the way that they did? Some random black man, hey, y'all don't even know who I am, do you? No. Any random Brad gets more respect than the random black man. That's just what it is. You can't deny it. And it is mind-blowing to me.
Explain why this happens.
Friction with them because they are born the farthest thing from what their ideology worships. And since white men aren't chasing them like Asian women, they have to get into sex work to get closer to whiteness from their perspective, which is why the soft life's real goal, once you take away all the fake fluff, is just to get a biracial child. That explains why I really...
Did y'all catch that? We've been knowing this for a while, and this is another point, another thing that I want to point out. The number of them, and this is a trend, yet another trend, they get into sex work, they look at it as a path to Brad. Like, hey, I'm going to increase my chances of having an experience with Brad. I'm going to maximize it. That's like a dirty little secret that's not talked about. Definitely not in the open by Kiesha. They look at that as the quickest and easiest path to getting a Brad, getting into sex work. Really? So that can grow legs? That can become a thing with Kiesha? but not one pro-black male, pro-black husband movement, narrative, where you don't get any positive narratives that come out of her population. You don't. When it comes to black men, it's all negative. It's all we ain't ish. We need to do this. We ain't good enough. And when they talking about Brad, it's all positive. Brad this, Brad that, Brad that. And this will be, they will be on code. They will all be on the same page with this narrative, and you won't hear or see any of them objecting to that narrative. Go on, preach, girl. Really? This same Brad?
Farthest thing from what their ideology worships. And since white men aren't chasing them like Asian women, they have to get into sex work to get closer to whiteness from their perspective, which is why the soft life's real goal, once you take away all the fake fluff, is just to get a biracial child.
I detect no lies. Let's touch on that too. How the seed of Brad is really looked at as a dream come true. We talked about how they go to these sperm banks and request a Brad father, the seed from a Brad. Many of these biracial children that you see out here are actually the result. And I have a video, you can look them up yourself, where Kiesha is admitting. I went to look it up. This has been reported on national media outlets, that it is a trend among them, yet another trend, where they go to these flipping sperm banks and request the seed of Brad. This same Brad that hates your guts. You're not only just worshiping Brad and want Brad's DNA. Where's Brad's DNA on her? It's mind-blowing to me. Where are the anti-Brad movements? Where are the pro-black man movements? Where are they? They pop up with black men. The black woman is God. The black woman is God. That was a real thing. That was a real movement among these jokers. How you think they was able to cake up off of it? The black woman is God. You have the queens, the sisters. Y'all remember in the 70s with the Black is Beautiful movement? Took them on all around the country, showcasing them. We done had, I don't know, Dear Mama, where you had that another phrase. Oh, Dear Mama. That song from Tupac resonated. That's why that song blew up. Because it was just another demonstration of a pro-black woman narrative that permeate through the black male population. We have them all the time, but you don't see them in the reverse. These are facts. Facts. Not one that's come from their demographic, none.
Explains why they really go into the work, because it is the easiest way for them to have sex with white men and produce the desired baby with good hair, quote unquote. I need you to understand, black man, that when it comes to Kiesha's and selling Vox, these white men rarely pay full price, if anything at all, and they're not kind about it either.
Okay. And you find a number of them. I mean, think about that. And I know many of you saw it back when Backpage, I don't know if it still exists. It's very common for them to put in a description that they service Brad only. Why would you do that and minimize your income? Why would you minimize your income like that? They would give some pathetic excuse. Go look them up. That, I don't provide services to black men because they rarely pay the requested amount, which is bull. They usually don't have the money. Bull. This is a fact. And many of these profiles are still out there where they prefer, they put in a description that they only serve Brad. They only serve Lee. They will say that they serve anybody other than black men. Why do you think that was a thing with them that were in the sex field? It was because they was using that profession, if you want to call it that occupation, to find a Brad. That's the easiest path to Brad. It has become a thing, a narrative, a movement, that sick movement. But no pro-black male movement. None of them said, I only service brothers. You would think there would be, wouldn't you, in a climate like this, when Brads like this pop up all the time? You would think that the majority, I only service brothers. I only service other Indians or whatever. Anything other than Brad. Brad scares me. Brad, I'm terrorized by Brad. They would have made up excuses why they don't serve Brad, and you don't see none of that. None of that. Yeah, we're going to reflect on how sick Brad is and how sick the coalition between Brad and Kiesha is. Oh, yes. You're not about to sit up here, video after video, talking about white supremacy without talking about the ally of white supremacy that's in our midst. Rubbing the superiority, the perceived superiority of Brad in your face every single day. Even if it's in the form of a stupid head full of blonde hair, a stupid blue eye contacts, whatever.
Indian, Hispanic, and of course white men have bragged online for decades and in our faces that our women are the cheapest, easiest. And black women cultivated that image on purpose.
Why do you think so many of these old Brads be going after Kiesha? It's because they figure I'm old, I'm dusty, I'm wrinkled. Women don't want me no more. But there's the best chance I have at getting some box is to go after a Kiesha. This is well known amongst Brad. Again, why do you think that young Brad live streamed himself macking on Kiesha? He was that confident. Like, I can do this live. I can send direct messages, vile, racist messages, asking a random Kiesha. These weren't even call girls that this Brad was sending these messages to. Y'all remember that? It's still out there. He was sending messages to random Kieshas. Like, hey, I want to do this to you, and I want to have sex play. He's talking all kind of vile stuff and getting nothing but positive feedback. Nothing but success. How can any random Brad be that trusted? I'm telling y'all, their bond is super, super tight. And it's far tighter than the bond they have with us. This is why so many black men are delineating. In their mind, in our mind, it's like, how in the world could you do that? Could you think like that? How could you have a brain that functions like that? They're disgusted, they feel betrayed, and they really look at you in the lowest possible way that a man could look at a woman. I'm telling you, the urge, the desire for among black men to delineate because of Kiesha like this is stronger than any other drive that any other men have to date outside of their own.
The only way they could secure biracial children, by making themselves the best deal for bottom shelves with no other option.
Man, oh yeah. No. If as we talk about all of these sick, overt racist things that Brad is doing, we're going to also talk about the number one admirer of, oh yes we are. No other, you don't find Ling Ling out here with no pro-Brad movement, pro-Brad anti-Lee movement. It ain't never happened. No other woman has done this to their men, had degraded their men to the point where they're putting this group of men over them. And it becomes a narrative, a thing, and you don't see any counter narrative that permeate through them. No. Even the other women who date Brad at a much higher rate, they've never had to overtly have no pro-Black Brad movement about it. Oh yes. Oh yes. And this is yet another motive, you know, because they always wondering why black men choose anything other than Kiesha. And they always want to make the assumption, oh, you just hate yourself. Oh, you just dealing with self-hatred. No, that's an insult. That's nothing but an insult. This is the truth. They're looking at things like this.
You need to understand.
Y'all remember this, right? This was not long ago, right?
An 18-year-old white male has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder for a mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, in what authorities called an act of racially motivated violent extremism. Authorities say at least 10 people have been reported dead from the shooting, which took place in a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo on Saturday afternoon. Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia said the suspect was armed with an assault-style rifle and body armor when he opened fire in the parking lot while live streaming the attack on Twitch.
He worked his way back towards the front of the store. Buffalo police immediately respond, engage the suspect.
Wasn't he going back and forth with like a retired member of law enforcement? There was another one who was doing exactly that. Working with, so this is Brad all through and through. Y'all, of course, y'all remember the cop that unalived that woman inside of her home, right? Not long ago, right? Why haven't any of these really traumatic situations sparked some type of, at least via fear, some type of narrative to come out of their population like, I am only and strictly for black men and black men only. I condemn all of you other women who are out here putting our men beneath Brad. We are against that. No, and it falls right back to the average Kiesha having a horrible attitude, no respect for us. That's like a collective example of that. You don't hear a peep. You don't hear not one peep. And every time they want to deal with, and every time they do deal with it, it's always Brad is better at this, Brad is better at that. So don't sit back and project us as a group of self-hating black men who are doing something simply because they are ashamed of our identity. Kill that narrative of having mommy issues too, because as we all talk about, that's not a valid subject, because you're only helping our argument by pointing out that there's a high number of black men who were abused by their mothers.
In the vestibule of the store, and at that point the suspect put the gun to his own neck. Buffalo police personnel, 2 patrol officers, talked the suspect into dropping the gun. He dropped the gun, took off some of his tactical gear, surrendered at that point.
Officials said 11 of the 13 people struck by gunfire were black, and that the attack would be investigated both as a hate crime and an act of racially motivated violent extremism under federal law. Twitch said in a statement that it removed the live stream. Are you kidding?
Watch this. How to find a black husband. You don't see nothing. Nothing. In fact, all you see is Kiesha talking about how to find Brad. But do a search on how to find, let's do a boyfriend. How to find a black boyfriend. Look, I'm seeing Koreans drooling over black men. I'm seeing Becky drooling over black men. How to find a black? Well, okay. Well, let's go a little further, man. It got to be something, right? Oh, you find Kiesha talking about how to get Brad. Okay, well, who's the face of how to find a Brad as a boyfriend? Okay? Not Ling Ling. You don't find Ling Ling. The only thing, Kiesha is the face of how to find a Brad. And it's how to find, also how to find a non-black man. How to find anything that ain't. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? This shows what they're passionate about. This reveals their true desires. You don't always simply focus on what's said. You got to focus on what's not said. Sometimes you got to question, where are these points being acknowledged? You don't see nothing. You've never seen or heard of a movement of how do I find a good black husband? We hear from the statistics that 65% of our men are in the middle class and over 50% are childless. Where are these good brothers at? I want a black husband. Again, that's another point. Notice how after these statistics came out, you didn't even hear a peep out of them. Like, where are they? Where are they? I want one. Childless? You're in the middle class? We thought that productive black men, that there are only about 10% of them. Oh yeah, maybe 5%, 10% of black men are successful and childless. So, N-words ain't ish. But then when the facts come out, there's no hashtag, no movement of even curiosity. Our brothers doing way better than we have been saying, than we have been alleging. Where are they? We apologize for demonizing your image like that, for telling the world that the majority of you go out knocking up random black women. 50% of black men are childless. I'm childless, and I'm in the middle class. We are the most ignored demographic, even amongst ourselves, our own population. And you did not hear not one peep from Kiesha talking about, we misjudged you. We've been spreading untruths about you. This information hits much different when it comes from your counterpart. We apologize. And I want a man like that. A hard-working, productive member of society with no kids. We misjudged you. You don't get nothing like that. In fact, you only get more synthetic G's. It's the hatred that has been put out here in this universe against black men from Kiesha that's the number one reason for their delineation right now. For black men's delineation from Kiesha right now. Talk about that. Salute. Everybody in the building. We'll see you on the next live.